Tonight, we've got three major new developments in the mysterious death of Nolan Wells. First up, witnesses reportedly told investigators Wells had been drinking heavily with friends on Horn Island before he disappeared. That's according to a document with preliminary information from the Mississippi Department of Marine Resources. It was obtained by ABC News. Second, Nolan's friends have long said that he chose to remain on Horn Island after their boat left. Remember, he was talking to a young girl, young lady. Well, now, TMZ reports that sources with direct knowledge of the investigation say that at least two witnesses told law enforcement they saw Nolan on the island after that boat departed. Now, we haven't independently verified those claims. Authorities have not publicly confirmed them, but you can see why it's significant. Third, we've played brief excerpts of this distress call that were made from the boat on the show before, but now there is a longer version of the recording that has been released by the Mississippi Department of Marine Resources. It was aired by multiple local news outlets.
The summer sun had barely begun to rise over the Gulf of Mexico when search crews spotted something floating near the shoreline of Horn Island. At first, it looked like driftwood moving gently with the tide, but as the rescue boat drew closer, the silence on the water changed. What they had found was not debris. It was the body of 18-year-old Nolan Wells. Just 2 days earlier, Nolan had traveled to the remote Mississippi barrier island with friends to celebrate the 4th of July. He was a promising student-athlete with his entire future ahead of him. Now, his family faced the unimaginable, identifying their son after an intensive search that had ended in heartbreak. Authorities initially suggested there were no obvious signs of foul play, and investigators began examining whether Nolan had accidentally drowned. But almost immediately, questions emerged that refused to disappear. His family challenged the early assumptions, pointing to unanswered questions about the timeline, inconsistencies surrounding his disappearance, and evidence they believed deserved closer scrutiny. An independent autopsy later concluded that Nolan's cause and manner of death were undetermined, meaning it could neither confirm an accident nor rule out other possibilities. Then, just as public attention intensified, another claim surfaced. A woman reportedly came forward saying she believed she had witnessed Nolan being attacked before he vanished. Her account spread rapidly across social media, reigniting fierce debate over what really happened on Horn Island. But here where fact separates from rumor. As of today, no law enforcement agency has publicly verified that this witness account has been substantiated, and investigators have not announced evidence confirming Nolan was assaulted. The investigation remains active, and officials have repeatedly urged the public not to mistake online claims for established facts. At the same time, another major development was quietly unfolding behind the scenes. The official state autopsy had been completed, but its findings had not yet been released publicly. The report was expected to play a crucial role in determining whether Nolan died from accidental drowning, a medical emergency, or something far more sinister. Meanwhile, the family's independent forensic expert stated that the available evidence was insufficient to determine exactly how Nolan died, and emphasized that foul play could not be excluded based on the information available. The uncertainty transformed Nolan's death into one of the most closely watched investigations in America. Every photograph from that holiday weekend was examined. Every social media post was dissected. Every witness statement became another piece of a puzzle that still refused to come together. Some believed the truth had already been overlooked. Others warned that speculation was racing far ahead of the evidence. Somewhere between those two realities lies the story of Nolan Wells, a story of a young man who left home expecting nothing more than a summer celebration, only to become the center of a mystery that continues to divide investigators, the public, and even those closest to the case. Before anyone can understand the questions surrounding Nolan's final hours, we first have to understand who he was, the people he trusted, and the chain of events that brought him to Horn Island on that July weekend from which he never returned. Before his name became associated with headlines and unanswered questions, Nolan Wells was simply an 18-year-old with his whole life ahead of him. Friends and family described him as someone who enjoyed spending time outdoors, loved being around the people he trusted, and was excited about the future. Like many teenagers during the summer, he was looking forward to a holiday getaway, a chance to relax, laugh with friends, and make memories that would last long after Independence Day had passed. No one imagined that trip would become the last chapter of his life. Horn Island, a remote barrier island off the Mississippi Gulf Coast, seemed like the perfect destination. Known for its untouched beaches, dense vegetation, and miles of open shoreline, the island offers breathtaking scenery but also presents serious risks. With no permanent residents, limited emergency access, and strong tides that can change without warning, even experienced visitors are urged to exercise caution. Despite those dangers, thousands visit the island every year expecting nothing more than a peaceful escape. According to publicly available reports, Nolan traveled to Horn Island with a group during the 4th of July weekend. At some point, he became separated from others, triggering a frantic search involving multiple agencies. Days later, his body was recovered, leaving investigators with difficult questions and his loved ones with unimaginable grief. While authorities began examining the circumstances surrounding his death, Nolan's family continued searching for answers they believed had yet to be found. Before we continue, if you appreciate carefully researched true crime stories that focus on facts instead of rumors, please take a moment to like this video, subscribe to Cold Case Files, and turn on notifications so you never miss an investigation. As investigators worked to reconstruct Nolan's final hours, subtle details began emerging that would cause many to wonder whether this tragedy was truly as straightforward as it first appeared. As investigators worked to piece together Nolan Wells' final hours, the timeline became the focus of intense scrutiny. Every movement, every witness account, and every available photograph from the holiday weekend was carefully examined. While authorities continued their investigation, online speculation quickly filled the gaps left by unanswered questions. Rumors spread across social media, with countless theories attempting to explain what had happened. But separating fact from fiction became one of the biggest challenges in understanding the case. One of the most discussed aspects was the period after Nolan was reportedly separated from his group. Publicly released information has not established exactly what occurred during those critical moments. Search teams were deployed across the island, using boats, aircraft, and ground crews to cover the remote terrain. As hours turned into days, hope gradually gave way to fear. The uncertainty surrounding the investigation led Nolan's family to seek additional answers beyond the initial findings. They requested an independent autopsy, believing every possibility deserved careful examination. When that review concluded that the cause and manner of death were undetermined, it intensified public interest. An undetermined finding does not confirm foul play, nor does it prove an accident. It simply means the available medical evidence could not conclusively explain how Nolan died. At the same time, claims began circulating online that witnesses had seen Nolan involved in an altercation before his disappearance. Those reports attracted enormous attention, but investigators have not publicly confirmed them as verified evidence. As the investigation remained active, officials continued urging the public to avoid drawing conclusions before all available evidence had been reviewed. With uncertainty growing and emotions running high, the next stage of the investigation would center on forensic evidence, witness interviews, and the difficult task of determining exactly what happened during Nolan Wells' final hours. The final hours of Nolan Wells' life remain at the center of an investigation filled with unanswered questions. Based on publicly released information, investigators have not established a complete account of everything that happened after he became separated from the people he had traveled with. That gap in the timeline has become one of the most significant obstacles in determining exactly how the young man's life came to such a tragic end. Search efforts began after Nolan was reported missing, with emergency responders combing Horn Island's beaches, wooded areas, and surrounding waters. The island's isolation made the operation especially difficult. Strong currents, changing tides, and vast stretches of undeveloped shoreline complicated every search pattern, forcing rescuers to battle both time and the environment. When Nolan's body was eventually recovered, investigators immediately began documenting the scene and collecting evidence. Medical examiners performed an autopsy, while detectives worked to reconstruct his final movements. Although rumors rapidly spread online claiming Nolan had been assaulted before his disappearance, law enforcement has not publicly confirmed those allegations. Likewise, no official findings have established homicide as the cause of death. Instead, the available evidence has left investigators facing uncertainty. The independent autopsy's conclusion of an undetermined cause and manner of death underscored how difficult it has been to explain what happened using the medical evidence alone. Rather than providing closure, it raised additional questions that continue to fuel public interest. For Nolan's family, the lack of definitive answers has been deeply painful. Every day without a clear explanation has prolonged their search for the truth. Whether the evidence ultimately points to an accident, a medical emergency, or something else entirely, investigators continue working to determine what happened during those final, mysterious moments on Horn Island, a mystery that remains unsolved today. The investigation into Nolan Wells' death soon expanded beyond the shoreline where his body was found. Detectives reviewed witness statements, examined photographs and videos taken during the holiday weekend, and worked to establish a precise timeline of Nolan's movements. Every detail, no matter how small, was evaluated to determine whether it supported an accidental drowning or pointed investigators in another direction. At the same time, Nolan's family continued pushing for additional answers. They publicly expressed concerns that key questions remained unresolved and supported an independent forensic review. When that independent autopsy concluded that the cause and manner of death were undetermined, it reinforced that the available medical evidence could not definitively explain how Nolan died. That finding did not confirm foul play, but it also did not eliminate it as a possibility. Meanwhile, social media became flooded with theories, including claims that a woman had witnessed Nolan being attacked before his disappearance. Those allegations gained widespread attention, but investigators have not publicly verified them or announced evidence confirming an assault. Law enforcement has continued urging the public to allow the investigation to follow the evidence rather than online speculation. Authorities have stated that they are reviewing all credible leads, and the case remains under investigation. Until investigators release additional findings, many of the questions surrounding Nolan's final hours remain unanswered. If you're finding this investigation informative and appreciate fact-based true crime coverage, please take a moment to like this video, subscribe to Cold Case Files, and turn on notifications. Your support helps us continue covering complex cases with accuracy and respect. As forensic reviews continue and investigators work through every lead, Nolan Wells' family remains focused on one goal above all else: discovering the truth, wherever the evidence ultimately leads. Unlike many true crime stories that end inside a courtroom, the case of Nolan Wells has not yet reached that stage. As of the latest publicly available information, no one has been charged in connection with his death, and investigators have not announced that they have identified a suspect. While countless theories continue circulating online, the legal process depends on evidence, not speculation, and authorities have remained careful about what they release to the public. Because the investigation is still active, forensic experts continue reviewing available evidence alongside witness statements and the medical findings. Every new lead must be examined, verified, and either supported or eliminated through investigation. This deliberate process can be frustrating for families seeking immediate answers, but it is often necessary to ensure that any future legal action is based on reliable evidence rather than public pressure. The absence of criminal charges has not diminished the determination of Nolan's loved ones. They have continued advocating for transparency and encouraging anyone with credible information to come forward. Their hope is that someone may remember a seemingly insignificant detail from that holiday weekend, something that could help investigators complete the timeline of Nolan's final hours. If future evidence establishes that a crime occurred, prosecutors would then evaluate whether there is sufficient admissible evidence to bring charges. Until then, the investigation remains focused on uncovering the facts rather than reaching conclusions prematurely. For now, the legal chapter of Nolan Wells' story remains unwritten. Whether this case ultimately ends as a tragic accident, a death with an undetermined explanation, or an investigation that uncovers new evidence, one reality remains unchanged. An 18-year-old lost his life, and those who loved him are still waiting for the answers that only a complete and thorough investigation can provide. For Nolan Wells' family, the passing of time has done little to ease the pain of losing someone they loved. Every birthday, holiday, and family gathering now serves as a reminder of the young man whose future was cut short, while investigators continue their work. His loved ones have remained committed to ensuring that Nolan is remembered not as a headline or a mystery, but as a son, a friend, and a young man whose life mattered. The uncertainty surrounding the investigation has made the grieving process especially difficult. In many cases, families can begin to heal once they understand what happened. For Nolan's family, however, unanswered questions have become part of their daily reality. They have continued seeking clarity through independent experts and by encouraging anyone with credible information to come forward. Their goal has never been to promote rumors, but to find the truth supported by evidence. Beyond Nolan's family, the case has captured the attention of people across the country. Thousands have followed updates online, shared their thoughts, and expressed sympathy for those left behind. At the same time, investigators have repeatedly reminded the public that social media speculation should not be confused with verified facts. While public awareness can generate valuable leads, unverified claims can also complicate an active investigation and place additional strain on grieving families. Today, Nolan Wells' case remains a powerful reminder of how quickly a celebration can turn into heartbreak. What began as a holiday trip ended in tragedy, leaving a community searching for answers that have yet to emerge. Until investigators can fully explain Nolan's final hours, his family continues to wait with hope that one day the uncertainty will finally be replaced by the truth. The story of Nolan Wells is not just about an investigation. It is about a young life that ended far too soon, and a family still searching for answers. Months after that holiday weekend on Horn Island, many of the most important questions remain unanswered. Investigators continue reviewing evidence, while Nolan's loved ones continue hoping that someone somewhere knows the missing piece that could finally explain what happened during his final hours. This case also serves as a reminder of the importance of separating facts from speculation. In the age of social media, rumors can spread faster than evidence, and theories can quickly overshadow the careful work of investigators. While every credible lead deserves to be examined, the truth can only be established through verified evidence, forensic analysis, and a thorough investigation. Until officials announce new findings, many of the claims circulating online remain exactly that, unverified claims. For Nolan's family, justice may not simply mean criminal charges. It may mean finally understanding how and why their son died. Whether that answer confirms a tragic accident or reveals something more, they deserve clarity after enduring so much uncertainty. Perhaps one day, a witness will come forward with information that changes everything. Perhaps new forensic evidence will answer the questions that have lingered since that July weekend. Until then, Nolan Wells' story remains an open investigation and a solemn reminder that some mysteries are measured not only by the evidence they leave behind, but by the lives they forever change. If you found this case informative, please like this video, share it with others, subscribe to Cold Case Files, and turn on the notification bell so you never miss another in-depth investigation. And now, we'd like to hear from you. Do you believe the truth about what happened to Nolan Wells is still waiting to be uncovered? Or do you think the evidence already tells the full story? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below.